There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel, I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
It's time to rise and grind. Why is that? This is the SportsGrid Network. This is the early line. This is how we get down on a Thursday. We made it past hump day. We are in the home zone. Why? Because the NFL is back in our lives today. Afternoon Major League Baseball. Hot topics across the board. You can smell what the weekend is cooking from here, Joe Ranieri. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri. Let's get after it for 2 hours. I know, Joe, I know you're ready. I know you are. I know.
You have no idea, Donnie. Thursdays, we wait all week to get to this time here where football kicks back in. Yeah. And then we'll have Maction Wednesdays coming up in a couple of weeks. So it's football is back and postseason baseball is just around the corner.
Now, the boys might have been down about 24 hours ago, right? Like, oh, man, these plays just didn't work out here. But when you trust us in the bye section to bounce back nights, Joe 1-0, Donnie 1-0, teammates 2-0 last night. And if you wait to the end of the show once again, you will get some more bye action today. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to get to the 7-7 topics in just a few moments. But sometimes, Joe, things come across your desk that you just say, why are we doing this? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it was Kyler Murray with a picture yesterday they posted to social media, which was with a Michael Vick jersey and a pit bull in front of him. So if you are his team of creators around him, if you're looking for branding opportunities across the sports landscape, this is not the way to go about it. What was the purpose of the picture posted yesterday with a Michael Vick jersey and a pit bull? Joe, explain it to me. I don't understand.
Johnny, I got to tell you where to start with this. There is just the generational talent. Sometimes Donnie just has absolutely zero self-awareness about what is going on and what doing. Now, in his defense, I'll probably say he probably saw absolutely nothing wrong with it. He probably grew up liking Michael Vick, was probably a young kid, right? I get to wear the throwback jersey, and I love, here's my dog. I love my. So he probably didn't put 2 and 2 together, and the 12-year-olds on his team probably had no idea what the correlation between the pit bull and Michael Vick's jersey was, and we're being honest here.
I mean, there's so many odd things that came out of that because if again, most of us were alive when that whole scandal went down and Mike Vick, one of the most entertaining players in football, ends up going to jail. Now, granted, post coming out of jail, he's been a very good citizen, worked his way back, paid his debts, and there is something like that in society that you can have a redeeming value. We're not saying that, but there was no context to it. You should have known it would be a lightning rod scenario the minute, like, there was no good coming from, oh, wow, Kyler Murray, that's such a cool picture that he put out there. Like, you had to know, like, his team had to know. And it wasn't one of those things like, let me just pick this up. Let me take a selfie of myself here and send it out. It looks like it was a photo shoot. So somebody had to approve that.
I'm telling you, the people are on probably completely no understanding of the correlation between the two and why it's bad. It's just, oh, look, a throwback Vic jersey because, he plays like Michael Vick, sort of, but Vick actually won games. Maybe that was the difference. Somebody should have just stopped that photo shoot right from that point and been like, yeah, Vick actually won. You don't.
Not the smartest move here. Let's get to those 7 and 7 hot topics and talk with Justin Fields. He won't play this weekend because of a concussion. Joe Ranieri, a lifelong Jets fan. You just get a concussion every week watching the Jets play. What's the difference?
Oh, Donnie, there's nothing like week 2 of the NFL season being a Jets fan and knowing already you're looking forward to the draft. Listen, this could actually, this could be an interesting situation because Tyrod Taylor, been around the league a long time, right? The offense of the Jets was built around making sure they limited the offense and limited what Fields could do, right? So they didn't just take what the defense gives you. Well, that's not Tyrod Taylor. So I'm going to be very interested to see, do they open up this offense now? Do they let Tyrod throw it around a little bit? I think it's going to be a very interesting telltale sign from what we get because they're not promising Fields to be the starting quarterback the whole year. So maybe Tyrod, this is an opportunity for him to step in.
By the way, when I watch a quarterback play football, I just want him to make these simple plays, right? Not the 50-50 plays, the great plays downfield. Hey, look, Joe, a guy's wide open 5 yards from me. Boom, hit him in the chest. Let's keep the chains moving here. If you watch that Sunday game, and just about every game that Justin Fields plays, there are at least 5 to 6 plays that go, my 8-year-old nephew could make that throw into the flat and keep the chains moving. He just can't do it. An electric athlete. If you put a lab together, like build me a quarterback for 2025 in the NFL, it should be Justin Fields. He just can't make the simple play, and you can't be an NFL quarterback if you can't do that. Now, another quarterback that's looking to step back in, it's Brock Purdy. Sometimes, people, maybe then young kids don't understand getting Wally pipped, right? Like, hey, let me sit on the sidelines. I'm going to miss a day or two. Whoa, this quarterback's performing behind me really well. We're not saying Mac Jones is going to take over starting quarterback ranks for the rest of the season over the 49ers. But if you are Brock Purdy, you can't be like, oh, this guy's winning football games. I got to get back under center. There's a chance he can play this week, says Kyle Shanahan.
Well, and there's a chance they're a much better team with Brock Purdy than Mac Jones. Let's be realistic here. Now, great. Backup quarterbacks, Donnie, we always said, great backup quarterbacks can win you 2 or 3 games at most in the absence of your starting quarterback. Asking him to do any more beyond that is a recipe for disaster. So I am, if Purdy can play him, Donnie. And it's good to know that Mac Jones can come in if anything happens and win a game. But, get Purdy back in there. They're a much better offensive team with him under center.
Some baseball scores here from last night. The Red Sox take down the Athletics 5-4. No consolation prize for me 2 nights ago. I just needed them to score 3 runs. They didn't. So what do? Bounce back in a 5-win effort and an extra inning effort win there. Red Sox beat the A's 5-4.
Yeah, great. It serves me right for betting them last night in the first 5 innings there, and I watching Giolito implode in the 4th inning, giving up the lead, and then bases loaded, nobody out with Bregman up, of all people, in the bottom of the 5th, and what happens, Donnie? They don't score a run. Yeah, thanks for that first 5 loss, Boston.
Texas, you had a fun season. You thought you might be able to punch through in the month of September. Then you got swept by the Astros. Good night, sayonara. Your season is over. The Astros pick up the 3-game sweep over the Rangers.
They say experience matters, Donnie, and Houston doing Houston things. And, finally all those injuries. We thought it was a great story, but finally all those injuries to the Rangers. and they're just running out of steam at this point, Donnie. They don't have enough. They don't have enough healthy people left to make it to the finish line.
Oktoberfest. Chicago Cubs welcome into October baseball, an 8-4 victory yesterday against the Pirates. They didn't clinch the division because they probably won't win that, but they clinched a playoff berth. Congratulations to the Cubbies. Fly the W.
Yeah, great. We said it to them yesterday. Beat the Pirates, get it done, celebrate, and get ready for the postseason so you can get knocked out really quickly, Cubs fans.
And also in NCAA action, which is not on the field but off the field, hey, cooler heads prevailed. One time you can hit the transfer portal. Sensational. It makes sense. It's easy. But make me commissioner. We'll have more easy concepts like this that make sense, as opposed to open the portal while they're still playing football, you idiots. Thank goodness.
Well, yeah, hopefully it'll still be right around that first week of January is when the portal will open. But if I'm a coach, having not once but twice to have to worry about losing my team a year is kind of ridiculous. So, yeah. By the way, college basketball, they only do it one time a year. I don't know why football had to do it twice a year.
Yeah, like the portal opening up January 1st in college basketball, and half the teams have half their players gone. Makes no sense about it. I'll tell you what does make sense.
None.
You want to put butts in the seats, you better sign Lionel Messi to a big deal. Messi, big deal coming up. You love that, Joe.
They love it here in South Florida.
They love it. We love it. We love the early line. We love Thursday Night Football. Bills, Dolphins next. Don't go anywhere.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes what. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
If a game is on the line,
give me the Navy kicker.
Oh,
the guy's going into battle in 2 weeks. He can't make an extra point. Come on.
From a mindset perspective, yeah. I'm not. Listen, we thanked them for their service. I love them. Okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, if you have a bet and you have an academy kicker with a field goal or an extra point, you got to hold your breath.
27 yards.
27 yards. The kid shanked it from like 30.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Remember the Queen and David Bowie song where they joined forces and sang Under Pressure? That's what you get today, not from the Buffalo Bills, who look really good to start the season. It's from the Miami Dolphins and their head coaching staff and their quarterback and their wide receivers and their general manager to put up a fight. The one thing we know, Joe Ranieri, in the NFL, it's really hard to go on the road on a Thursday night. And this isn't, hey, let's get on a plane and go to Tampa or Jacksonville on a Thursday. Not that bad. No, you get on a plane from South Florida, you fly to Buffalo. That's a good travel distance. And tonight, Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins are on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. The price point in this game, just about everywhere, 11.5 to 12.5. The total, 49.5. Let's start here with the game itself, Joe. The pressure on the Dolphins of moving to 0-3 and what it means for that franchise.
Well, it means everything because we all know statistically the percentage of teams that start the season 0-3 and go anywhere even remotely close to the postseason is basically slim to none here. But now, the Dolphins have not won at Orchard Park, Donnie, since 2016. So now they are expected to save their season and go there. And with this team now that all of a sudden, Donnie, is now built to be a power running team. They are running over They ran over the Ravens, supposed to be a great running defense. The Jets were supposed to be their bread and butter, ran right over them. And now they're going up against a Dolphins team that has no secondary and can't stop the run anyway. So this is either going to be a 50-point blowout or Buffalo, who's racking up the injuries, Donnie, here. Matt Milano's apparently out now. They still don't have Ed Oliver. So maybe, just maybe they don't win this game, but maybe they stay within this number. Don't forget, this was 12.5, even 13 at one point. So there's been a lot of Dolphin money in the marketplace that has brought this thing down to 11.5.
I'm glad you brought this up about the Buffalo Bills because we're handicappers, we're bettors, and you like to try to get those X's and O's. Like there are some teams I can pick out right away. Like, I like the quarterback to throw 2 touchdowns. I like this wide receiver to have 7 catches. I like this running back to have 50 yards and a touchdown. I look at the Buffalo Bills right now, Joe, the same way I look at the Detroit Lions. You go like, what's the correlation? Yes, 50-plus points last week for the Detroit Lions, but it's like, boy, who am I going to pick? Is it going to be Gibbs' big day, Montgomery's big day, Goff's big day, Amon-Ra Brown's big day? Like, there's so many weapons in there. But now I take a look at the Bills and go, I should like Khalil Shakir. Ooh, I don't know. Like, whose tyrant is it tonight? Ooh, I should like Keon Coleman tonight. That's kind of interesting here. Oh, no, I should like James Cook in the backfield. Or how about 2 touchdown pass out of Josh Allen? He goes, well, Josh Allen just ran 2 touchdowns in himself. They're so good right now as a Swiss Army Knife offense, Joe. I'm finding it hard to pinpoint exactly what I like in the lineup tonight. Is that like, do you get the same way sometimes?
Listen, especially with a team that can not only pass the ball, and you have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Josh Allen, right? And even Tua said it in an interview this week where he's like, listen, dude, I can't do half of what Josh Allen's like on a different level than me on what he can do and what he can't do. But I'm telling you right now, Josh Allen, the biggest thing they have always had to worry about with him is don't ask Josh Allen early in the season to put himself in harm's way that often. The good news with a running game now, Donnie, is they don't have to. But now it opens up the door for everybody else on this Buffalo team from a prop betting perspective that who do you zone in on? There is not one go-to guy anymore.
It's really hard. They'll get inside the 5-yard line. Oh, this is Cook territory. No, Allen runs it in. No, he throws it to Dawson Knox. Maybe it's Kincaid. Like everybody's on equal footing, which is great if you want to bet the Buffalo Bills. Just not great for prop bets to say, man, they scored 30 points. My guy didn't cash in a touchdown. What actually happened there at this point? But these 2 quarterbacks are going to duel. And also understand this. Usually the NFL, and rightfully so, Miami goes, we want Buffalo in our, stadium in let's just say early September. We want them to go in the heat where they might not be used to it. And then the Buffalo Bills always tell the NFL, you better put those Miami Dolphins up here December 16th in freezing cold temperatures. Thursday night is a tough game to play. We get that. But Joe, high 60s, no rain in the forecast, and light winds. It's as good as you're going to get for temperatures here. And we have a quick clip here of talking about, Tua saying, hey, man, Josh Allen's the real deal.
Dude, he's top tier. If it's not with his arm, it's with his legs. That dude can do literally anything he wants. So definitely different skill set for me. I can't do half of what he does when it comes to running the ball and any of that. And then with how he can just chuck a ball down the field, with how far and the arm strength that he has, he's supreme when it comes to that. So it's gonna be fun. Get to see him, get to play him again, and we'll see.
That sounds like they're going to get beat by 30 tonight, Joe. Help me out.
Don, imagine being a starting quarterback in the NFL and getting out and being like, that
never
dude
surrender.
Is heads and tails better than I am. Like,
never surrender.
I shouldn't even show up. Like, thank God I don't have to tackle him. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you saying right now? Yeah, he's a great player. You didn't need to go on and drone on and on and on. Like, oh my goodness, Donnie. That should be very interesting tonight to see how much Josh Allen is that much better than Tua, since he just admitted it to the whole world.
Now, the ways that you can go about taking a look at the Miami Dolphins today, right? They're getting a lot of points. It's a Thursday. It's still a division battle. They're not dead in the water. They didn't show up in week number 1. We can agree at that. They put up a fight against New England and probably should have won that football game, but they didn't. And yes, there is something about the pressure of the environment where Buffalo is 2-0. They should win this game, yes, but Miami knows they go 0-3. It's an absolute disaster. All hands on deck. That doesn't mean you win the football game, and that doesn't mean you can cover the spread. But the one thing that you take a look at is, hey, maybe there is something to Tyreek Hill being able to get open deep again. 100-yard game last week. Jalen Waddle's still a very good and fast and talented wide receiver. The one thing I like about this Miami Dolphins team is Devon Achane last year, coming onto the scene over the past 2 years, injured a lot. He's not injured now, and he looks really good. Is that the linchpin tonight for the Miami Dolphins to try to keep this game close? Is it Devon Achane, or maybe it's just a passing game and opening it up for you, Joe?
Well, it better be Achane involved in that passing game, because I don't know that they're going to be able to run the ball, Donnie. They have not been able to run the ball. But the good news is, if they don't have Ed Oliver, they don't have Matt Milano, maybe this is the night. You know, the best defense against Josh Allen is keeping him on the sideline, Donnie. So maybe Achane rushing the ball might be the best look here tonight.
It could be, and also trying to keep Josh Allen on the sideline, whack him in the nose. We're going to get a picture and a glimpse here of what he's actually going to wear in this football game to protect that nose. If the Dolphins can even get close to him and try to pass rush him here, we'll find out. More handicaps on the way. It's Buffalo. It's Miami. It's Thursday Night Football.
Look at the weather, try to look for some anytime touchdowns or maybe some props that you really feel confident about. But it's always the time for urgency, especially for a team like the New York Giants. I think that defense is something that can give Giants fans hope. And then if you get Dart under center, it's hope. And then if you can get Scatterboo out there and the whole building's going boo, it's hope. And as we know, hope works.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
You're in the Super Bowl market, if you're in the futures market, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is heavily connected to the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sure it would be Tyreek's first place if he could pick to go back to. At least I would think it would be. And the Chiefs have a need, and the Chiefs are interested, and they're not worried about any of his other question marks.
Pro football today, only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
They had clearly in hand at the end, especially in the second half, and yet somehow they managed a shank of a 60-yard field goal, and a flag comes in with no time left, Donnie, for a penalty. Do you want to know how many times that penalty of leverage was called all last season? Want to take a guess?
How many?
4.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
It's the early line on the Sports Grid Network. It is a Thursday, and we have Thursday night football tonight. Orchard Park, New York. That is the Miami Dolphins taking on the Buffalo Bills. Line here, most outlets at 12.5 right now. Most outlets at 49.5. We'll see where that gets closer to game time here. But we got some interesting dynamics at play tonight, and that's James Cook. Anytime touchdown market as a running back, a minus 175 price. Josh Allen, anytime touchdown market, a minus 170 price. Devon Achane, the first Miami Dolphin to appear on the list at a plus 110 price. If we're starting in the touchdown market tonight, Joe, 50 points. We're expecting a lot of touchdowns. Somebody has to score. Who's scoring for you tonight?
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, if Miami is going to stay close in this game, it better be who. It better be Tyreek Hill. It better be figure out a way with that banged up secondary still of Buffalo to get him the ball in space. And if they don't, there's going to be an awful lot of, pouting and screaming and finger pointing on the sideline. And that's what we've gotten already. So, yeah, I would expect, Tyreek to be able to at least get enough opportunities, Donnie, to be able to find pay dirt here against this banged up secondary of the Bills.
I'm telling you right now, like the theory is sometimes you can just look at lines where the book does not want you to bet those two lines. And I'll repeat it again, James Cook and Josh Allen. I'm not playing minus money here for a touchdown. Watch them both score a touchdown in the first half, and you're sitting on the sidelines here. But if you want to get creative, Joe, here's the way I look at it. We're expecting points tonight. It's a nice night. And maybe the Buffalo Bills do blow out the Miami Dolphins, which means more throwing in the second half for the Miami Dolphins, which means when they get inside the 10-yard line, they're not handing the football off because they want to score as fast as they can. Why not, Joe? Tyreek Hill plus 170, Jalen Waddle plus 110. Take both of those guys at big-time plus money prices and say, if Tua is going to throw 2 touchdowns tonight, chances are one of those players is going to catch one of those touchdown passes and take the plus money. Now, granted, they both get in. That is a monster night. But, Joe, I'm playing plus money for the wide receivers in a game I expect a lot of passing, particularly in the second half. Plus money, man. That's where I'm going. Give me the split.
I'm with you, Donnie. Again, it's they're going to have to push the ball. They're going to have to score because that Miami defense is hot trash, especially that secondary there. So not only is Buffalo going to be able to move the ball, they're probably going to be able to score pretty easily, which means Miami is likely going to be playing from behind most of this game. And I don't think, McDaniels has any idea on how to slow tempo down and drag. And that's not what this game plan is going to be for the Dolphins. They're going to try to get into a shootout with the Bills. And I don't know that's a great game plan, but it certainly helps for the prop betting market.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of these receiving props, because typically you're going to go to the A1A guys, right? Tyreek Hill one side, Khalil Shakir on the other. Now, you might want to go that direction where it's 64.5 for Tyreek Hill, Khalil Shakir at 40.5. But this is also what I just brought up talking about this. We're expecting a big-time easy victory for the Buffalo Bills. Oh, Donnie, why do you say the odds makers are saying that? It's a double-digit spread in the NFL, which is quite rare at times. You might get 1 or 2 maybe a week. This is one of those games. And it's closer to 14 points right now, 12.5, than it is to 10 points. But understand this. Like, if the Bills are going to score, look at the wide receiver spot here. Khalil Shakir, 40.5. Keon Coleman, 42.5. Kincaid, 31.5. Josh Palmer, 35.5. We're not talking about the upper echelon, you got to get 75 plus receiving yards to cash this ticket in. If we're expecting the Buffalo Bills to approach 30 points, look how low, Joe, these numbers are in the receiving props for the Bills. If I had to give you one player on the Buffalo Bills as a receiver tonight to go over his player prop, who would you actually be picking out tonight?
Well, Shakir is a good look here, but so are the tight ends, right? Whether it be Kincaid or Knox, those guys certainly inside the red zone have always been favorite targets of Josh Allen, and it makes sense since I don't know that we've yet to see this linebacking crew of Miami be able to actually defend a pass-catching tight end here. Don't think we've actually seen that yet. So it would not shock me if the tight ends on Buffalo have big nights here in Orchard Park.
Yeah, I look at it and I say to myself, because I've always liked Khalil Shakir, and I do think, obviously, Josh Allen, it is his go-to guy, but they do spread it around a lot. Like, this is one of those games I just feel like, and you've pointed out multiple times, and you're right, Like Miami doesn't really do a lot well on defense. So if you're trying to get your guys going, like Shakir over 40.5 yards, that seems like a doable proposition. Keon Coleman, you take more deep shots with, I get it. Kincaid at tight end, Palmer, sort of a backup. James Cook at 12.5, that's one screen pass, he gets it done. But I'm sort of looking at that lead dog here. I'm looking at Khalil Shakir over 40.5 receiving yards. I think that does make a lot of sense. Let's switch gears here and take a look at Major League Baseball last night. Teams are clinching. Teams are hitting. Oh boy, 2 weeks left in the Major League Baseball season.
Look at the weather, try to look for some anytime touchdowns or maybe some props that you really feel confident about. But it's always the time for urgency, especially for a team like the New York Giants. I think that defense is something that can give Giants fans hope. And then if you get Dart under center, it's hope. And then if you can get Scatterboo out there and the whole building's going boo, it's hope. And as we know, hope works.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're in the Super Bowl market, if you're in the futures market, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is heavily connected to the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sure it would be Tyreek's first place if he could pick to go back to. At least I would think it would be. And the Chiefs have a need, and the Chiefs are interested, and they're not worried about any of his other question marks.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
They had clearly in hand at the end, especially in the second half, and yet somehow they managed a shank of a 60-yard field goal, and a flag comes in with no time left, Donnie, for a penalty. Do you want to know how many times that penalty of leverage was called all last season? Want to take a guess?
How many?
4.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's the Early Line on a Thursday morning radio on the Sports Grid Network. Donnie writes out along with Joe Ranieri, flying the W today. Not because we went 2-0 last night in our best bet winners, but the Chicago Cubs, an 8-4 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates. They enter into the playoffs with that victory yesterday. Wasn't a great performance here by Boyd either. 3 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, didn't matter. Rescued by the offense for the Cubs, which went 5 of 16 with runners in scoring position and still left 10 men on base and still played at 8 runs here. Cubbies to the playoffs. Welcome to October.
Yeah, first postseason berth since what, 2020? They get the sweep. Now what do you do with the remaining couple of weeks? Because they still are dealing with some injuries here on the Cubs. And you're right about Boyd. Not great, but he's actually come back down to earth in a big way. We kind of thought regression might be coming. He was over the top good for the first half of the season, but this latter half starting to slow down here a little bit. And you got to wonder, all right, so Imanaga, Boyd, and what else are the Cubs have here heading into the postseason?
Yeah, we'll find out here. Good Cubbies. We'll see. They're in the playoffs. You can't win the World Series, Joe, unless you make the playoffs. The Cubs did win the playoffs. They're a 7-1 price to win the National League, which we'll go over a little bit more in the next segment. If we keep on moving down that list of teams trying to get into the playoffs, well, yesterday the San Francisco Giants rose up. And by the way, great pitching performance out of Verlander. Worked some in and out of magic in some of those first 5 innings, but he ended up going 7 innings, 107 pitches for a man in his 40s in a 5-1 victory in extra innings that saw this game go to extras at 0-0. The Giants explode for 5 runs in the 11th inning and take care of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Well, listen, as good as Verlander was, Brendan Pfaadt was even better. He went 9 innings, gave up 1 hit, struck out 7, and only walked 1, and could not get the win, which is just mind-numbing there that a guy goes 9 innings, only gives up 1 hit, and his team couldn't score him any runs. So quite the pitcher's battle I did not see coming yesterday. I thought we might get some runs, but kudos to both of those guys for, that felt like playoff baseball. 2 teams battling for their playoff lives with 2 weeks remaining in the season, Donnie. That is exactly the kind of atmosphere Major League Baseball wants.
Now, I didn't bet this game yesterday. Look at the side. But I assume there was probably somewhere close to 9 runs as a total in that Boston Red Sox Athletics game. Final 10 innings, 5-4 Boston Red Sox. Okay, well, let's see what happened here. Only 1 run scored in extra innings. You saw Boston with the early lead, 2-1. Then they gave up 3 runs in the top of the 5th, scored 1 in the 5th inning. You understand that. But here's where some things go maddening for me, which the Red Sox beat me up a few nights ago. They, talking about the Red Sox, went 3 of 17 with runners in scoring position and left 13 men on base. And he said, what did the A's do? 3 of 15 with runners in scoring position and 13 men on base. So understand this. They had what? 30-plus batters. Was it 32 batters with runners in scoring position and got 6 hits out of those, but then left a combined 26 runners on base? Like, they're the ones who look at it and go like, how did I push that 9? Like, it's almost physically impossible based on the numbers to lose or push that transaction, and it happened yesterday. But the Sox get the victory. They're 83rd of the season.
Yeah, well, kudos to them because it was ugly, Donnie. There were guys on base all over the place, and nobody could get a hit. And they had multiple opportunities to blow that game wide open early on, and they just could not get it done. And we're talking less than 2 outs, too, with a lot of those guys not being able to get the job done with runners in scoring position. So kudos. I mean, the night before it was a 2-1 game. Red Sox did the same thing, left 1 million guys on base, and they were fortunate enough to get it done in extra innings last night at Fenway.
David Peterson didn't get it done yesterday for the New York Mets. 5 innings pitched, 6 earned runs. You can't do that when you're trying to solidify in a playoff race here. The Padres bought the bats out. 7-4 victory for the Pods that saw them go 4 for 8. How about that? With runners in scoring position. That's a novel concept. You lose games, go 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position like the Mets. Now, also late in that game, Soto just missed a game-tying home run. Late in that one, didn't matter. Padres got the victory. They'll go for it again this afternoon. And by the way, a little hint, I think we get some runs on one of these teams from one side here today between the Padres and the Mets. But last night, it was the Padres busting out the bats.
Yeah, well, it was Machado with a grand slam in the 5th that ended up pushing them over the top in that one because you had gotten a ton of runs. I mean, it was not a great outing either by Pivetta, too. So he only lasted 4 2/3. Didn't walk anybody, gave up 3 earned runs on 7 hits. And then, fortunately for the Padres, they have that bullpen that they can roll a lot of guys out that can shut you down. But the Mets, they were in that until, of course, Machado. It's that grand slam in the 5th, and then that was all she wrote.
Yeah, it was all she wrote yesterday. We thought Miller would get touched up a bit here for Seattle. He was actually okay. 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, but the bullpen exploded, which included Mr. Brash coming in for 2/3 of an inning and giving up 4 earned runs. Kansas City wins this game 7-5 over the Seattle Mariners. And also, the Mariners trying to stay in first place. The Astros with a sweep over the Rangers. So big doings here. Kansas City actually gets back to 500 on the season at 76-76. The Bats came away early. 3 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning on a 3-run Salvador Perez home run. And away they go to a victory here. A big bottom of the 8th inning where they played at 4 runs.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, they rolled out, Reagan's yesterday, Cole Reagan's Kansas City, and he only went 3 2/3, but
didn't go long.
You were lucky to be able to get that for him there. And then the bullpen had to come in. Lorenzen was very good in that game there, so they had to hold the fort down, but a big 8th inning where it really was the difference there where Kansas City was able to pull away.
Time to play some taps here. Why is that? Well, the Houston Astros saying, hey, we can still come back and be a first-place team at this point. But the Rangers were hoping for a big series to climb back in and pull off the unbelievable comeback. Not going to happen now. The Rangers do sit at 79-74, but they just got swept by the Astros. A monster series. They came up monstrously small.
Yeah, no, it was not good there. And Altuve with a monster home run there to be able to get it done for Houston. And if you were Texas, you were hoping DeGrom, who didn't pitch bad, actually was pretty bad. I mean, 5 innings, gave up the 6 hits, the 5 earned. He only walked 1, struck out 6. And Javier on the other side was actually really good.
Yeah.
He had been beat up a couple of starts since coming off the IL, but he was really good, and that's good news for Houston if they're making a run here.
Yeah, like Javier's supposed to be the guy that struggles in that spot, not DeGrom. And again, just such a big series where you have to win the series, let alone at least win one of the games. You can't get swept, and that's exactly what happened. It's a wrap on the season for the Texas Rangers at this point, but not a wrap on the division championship for the Los Angeles Dodgers as they try to stay ahead of the Padres. They get a 5-0 victory to salvage at least one game against the Philadelphia Phillies, a 5-0 performance where you saw another sensational starting pitching performance for the Dodgers. Snell, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 12 strikeouts, rounding into form for the playoffs. This is why the Dodgers are dangerous. They got talent, and if it produces, they're good.
Well, it was a good bounce back, too, because Snell has not been good the last couple of starts. It's been a little rough for him. With him, it's either he strikes out 12 or he walks 6. And last night, he got 12 Ks, only 2 walks there, just gave up a pair of hits. Luzardo wasn't terrible, but at some point, you kind of figured the Phillies were going to exhale a little bit at the plate, and they did so last night.
Yeah, the Dodgers were efficient. Only 4 runners in scoring position. They went 2 of 4. They only left 4 runners on base. The Philadelphia Phillies 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Didn't get a lot of chances to do that because of how good Snell was. And also in this game, another home run for Shohei Ohtani, his 51st of the season. And they asked after the game, Dave Roberts, like, hey, what do you think about Schwarber versus Ohtani? And he was right with the answer. It's Ohtani by a mile. The only way Ohtani loses it is because people voting on it, Joe, are going like, it's not fair that he pitches any hits here at this point, right? Like he's the MVP, and he's going to be that way for the next couple years.
Yep, there's no way around it. Again, Haley's Comet. So this guy keeps going out there, striking out, 200 hits, 50 bombs, 200 Ks. It'd be very hard to beat him.
Who's winning the AL? Who's winning the NL? Things coming into focus with the playoff picture. Let's hit Major League Baseball from a betting perspective next.
Credit to the Giants, who were so good in April and then since then just kind of fell apart. Now they're back in it again. I think the Mets will get in, but it is fascinating that they'll play the Marlins here the last 3 games of the season. And I know without a doubt that the Marlins are going to line up Sandy Alcantara, Yuri Perez, and top guys to try and beat the Mets.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They trade Marina Mabry, then they turn around, and then obviously they fire Teresa Weatherspoon, and it's been a hot mess. You go and, draft Cardozo and Reese, basically 2 of the same player, meaning bigs that can't step out and shoot. So it's a little bit of a clown show when you talk about the Chicago Sky.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
He says, you can't get in a position, Tiger, Rory, Justin Thomas, those guys are this tall. You're never gonna be as flexible as them. You got a lot more leverage and anti-leverage. You got a lot of more moving parts than those dudes.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I like the shadows coming in, Neyland Stadium. Show
High
me those
school,
3:30.
Joe,
Back
we
in the
played
day,
all our games on Saturdays. Maybe 1 or 2 games on a Friday night away. I always loved that. Same thing in college. Hated Friday night football games in college.
I understand why they do it prime time and we have to play. But going back to when we grew up, Keith Jackson.
Yeah.
Action.
Throw another pancake on that plate. Yeah,
That's
let's go,
it.
Keith Jackson. That's my guy here.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
You might watch a Triple Crown race, particularly the Kentucky Derby in here, and down the stretch they come. Well, that's what's happening in Major League Baseball right now as we are close to the end of the regular season, roughly a week and a half, 2 weeks away. We're going to know exactly who's in and who's out, who's going to try to win a championship. But a lot of things still left to be determined, which includes where you're going to sit in the seeding process. None closer than right now in the West, and that's the AL West. The Houston Astros, 84 victories on the season. The Seattle Mariners, 83 victories on the season. Tied in the loss column, a half-game lead right now for the Astros, fresh off of sweeping the Texas Rangers, who are now 5 back. If we're looking from a betting perspective of who could win this division, Joe, you're going to see here a minus 125 price for the Houston Astros, a minus 120 price for the Seattle Mariners. You're not even getting plus money. It's a de facto dead heat. So, Joe Ranieri, bring out that crystal ball. Who should you be betting in the AL West down the stretch to win this division?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because whoever does not win that is still got to get past, Boston maybe. There's a few teams here that a lot has to be decided as far as who's going to get that final wild card spot in the American League. So winning the West is huge. Do we go with experience? With Houston, who still doesn't have their full complement in the bullpen, which is interesting to say the least, when we are rolling out Craig Kimbrell in the meantime. But if they can maintain and those bats stay the way they have been hitting, which is why they went out and got all those bats at the deadline, right? If they can do that, maybe get Alvarez back, I think it's Houston's to lose because we've seen this with Seattle a lot over the years. They're good. They're so good, but they're just not there yet. So Seattle, I think, needs to win this. So to prove to themselves that they can actually get this done, Donnie, because until I see it, kind of hard for me to believe it.
How the West was won, particularly in the AL West, but also a really close competition. The other West, that's the NL West, 2 California teams, the Dodgers and the Padres. Win column, 85 wins for the Dodgers, 83 wins for the San Diego Padres. Loss column, 67 for the Dodgers, 69 for the Padres. That's a 2-game lead for the Dodgers over the Padres, but that's not a 2-game price right there. Minus 800 for the Dodgers to win that division. The Padres at a plus 550 price. It seems like the Dodgers have been able to keep arm's length away from the Padres. Is there any chance over the final 2 weeks or so of the season we can see something come back to form and the Padres can overtake those Dodgers?
They're going to need help. The Padres are. They're going to need to get hot. They're going to need the Dodgers to maybe take a step back a little bit. Listen, neither has been, running away with anything right now. You just saw the Cubs last night, Donnie, lock up that what's likely going to be the number 1 seed there in the wild card. And then you've got, the Padres who are 5 games better than the Mets right now. So it's the Dodgers to lose. I don't know that the Padres are going to go out and get it, but I also don't think, what's the point? You got to be in it to win it. The Padres firmly into the wild card spot.
How about that NL race here? Now, the Philadelphia Phillies in command, which is something we saw the Dodgers all season long. Now, here's how it's playing out. The Phillies have a large lead over the Dodgers. Just in the race, too, if everybody 3 division winners, the Phillies would have the leg up over the Dodgers because they have more wins, and certainly that was what the tiebreaker would be. So then, de facto, the Philadelphia Phillies would have home field advantage against the Dodgers in the playoffs, and that's the key. But to win the National League, the Phillies are at a plus 220 price, the Dodgers plus 290, the Brewers plus 350. Then that sort of fall off there between the Cubs, the Padres, and the Mets. But the Phillies now entrenched as the odds favorite to win the National League.
Yeah, listen, it's better than what we were getting a couple of months ago with the Dodgers, where they were priced like we shouldn't even be bothering betting anybody else. But the reality is, I still think the Brewers are the best team and the team to beat in the National League. So the Phillies just got to hope they don't have to play the Mets before anybody else, because that seems to be their big bugaboo there, Donnie. But that's the big race there is going to be, all right, who gets that final wild card spot in the National League, and can they make a run? And that's going to be very interesting here. But the Phillies should be, at least in my opinion, the Phillies and the Brewers should be the favorites in order to win the National League pennant.
Remember the trust factor just a few short weeks ago? Yeah, Tigers. Look at that. Tarek Skubal, top of the rotation here. Team looks good. They're in first place. They should be able to hold it down. Here's the odds-on favorite to win the American League, or at least the odds favorite here. That's not the case anymore. The American League odds go through the Toronto Blue Jays at a plus 280 price, followed by the Mariners at a 4-1 price. And then you see the Yankees at plus 410, along with the Detroit Tigers back to a plus 410. How about that? The road goes through Canada in the American League, at least in the odds market.
Yeah, kind of interesting, isn't it? They have been hot, and anybody who's expecting them to maybe take a step back here, they've done a great job of maintaining, right? But there's no Bichette because he's shelved now, and they're hoping to get him back in the postseason, and that's a pretty big loss for Toronto, Donnie. And they need to get Bieber up to speed, too, as well, as he's trying to still shake the rust off. I worry about that bullpen of Toronto in the long term here. Do they have enough in order to be able to win an American League pennant? Not at that price.
3 teams from the National League lead the World Series odds here, and they go in order. The Philadelphia Phillies at a plus 450 price, the Los Angeles Dodgers at a plus 550 price, and the Milwaukee Brewers at a plus 750 price. Then it's 3 straight American League teams, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Mariners. So if we just start here simply, Joe, and I gave you one league to take, you'd be a fool not to take the National League, right?
Yeah, I still think the top 3 teams on there are probably the top 3 teams in Major League Baseball, American and National League, Donnie. So it only makes sense. Although I could argue there is still some value down the board there with the American League. But, seeing is believing. Got to be able to get it done here. And all of those teams, by the way, have some warts, Donnie. There's some concerns with all of those teams winning it all.
Life is good. The Philadelphia Phillies on top of the sports landscape here in the NFL and also in Major League Baseball. Times certainly are good. We're going to check out next of the NFL. Times aren't so good for a certain amount of quarterbacks here that are just looking to try to make it to this weekend's starting line and also fight for old DC. What do I mean by that here? Come on back and check it out.
Yep.
Credit to the Giants, who were so good in April, and then since then just kind of fell apart. Now they're back in it again. I think the Mets will get in, but it is fascinating that they'll play the Marlins here the last 3 games of the season. And I know without a doubt that the Marlins are going to line up Sandy Alcantara, Yuri Perez, and top guys to try and beat the Mets.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They trade Marina Mabry, then they turn around, and then obviously they fire Teresa Weatherspoon, and it's been a hot mess. You go and, draft Cardozo and Reese, basically 2 of the same player, meaning bigs that can't step out and shoot. So it's a little bit of a clown show when you talk about the Chicago Sky.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
He says, you can't get in a position, Tiger, Rory, Justin Thomas, those guys are this tall. You're never gonna be as flexible as them. You got a lot more leverage and you got a lot of more moving parts in those dudes.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I like the shadows coming in, Neyland Stadium. Show me those 3:30.
Joe,
Back
we
in the
played
day,
all our games on Saturdays. Maybe 1 or 2 games on a Friday night away. I always loved that. Same thing in college. Hated Friday night football games in college.
I don't like. I understand why they do it prime time, and we have to play. But going back to when we grew up, Keith Jackson.
Yeah.
Action.
Throw another pancake on that plate. Yeah,
That's
let's go,
it.
Keith Jackson. That's my guy here.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
The math ain't math in here. You might say, Donnie, what are you talking about? What math? I don't want to do math early on a Thursday morning. Donnie writes out at Show Near. It's early on. We don't like to do math unless it's handicapping and trying to put the odds in our favor here. The Commanders, they are returning back to D.C. They're in Landover right now, which if you're ever in the FedEx Field / whatever the heck it's called today, it's a terrible place. It's a terrible site. It's just bad. It started out as Jack Kent Cooke Stadium. It's basically just a huge aluminum tin can in the middle of a suburb here. So they're going back to the old site of the RFK. But Bleacher Report put out a tweet here, Joe, that I don't understand how we got here. The Commanders are returning to D.C., it says. The D.C. City Council has approved a $3.8 billion renovation of RFK Stadium for 2030. Why aren't we just knocking the old stadium down and building a new one? I want to start right there with you, Joe.
Yeah, my initial guess would be the same reason why you don't. It is, but what 3.1 billion, 3.8? How you're not saving money, are you? I mean, like when you want to do, you don't knock down the house, you leave a wall up because it saves you in the long run because it's a renovation and not a new build. So you save all this money on taxes and everything else. But that can't be it when you're paying almost $4 billion for a renovation. So I have no idea why it is that they won't just level it and start from scratch.
Now, D.C. steals a lot of our money in the way of taxes. This sounds like somebody's pocketing like $3 billion and laughing all the way to the bank. Now, understand this. If we put things in context, when you look at the NFL stadiums, like the newer ones, like Jerry World, AT&T Stadium comes up right away like, this thing, like Jerry will tell you, like, it almost bankrupted me. It costed me so much money to try to build this. And it's probably the go-to arena for like extravagance and giantness and big games. And it's Jerry World. That cost $1.3 billion when it was built. We're like, well, Donnie, there is inflation. Yes, there is. Which in today's dollars, Joe, $1.9 billion. You're telling me this Redskins stadium renovation is twice as expensive in real dollars, today's dollars, than what we had before? What? Who's paying for this?
Yeah. Well, apparently, those that live in D.C. and here, newsflash, Donnie, they can afford it. I'll tell you that right now, because everything in Washington, D.C. is about 4 times the price of where it is in other places. So, but I believe it's not just the stadium. I believe it's an entire complex that they're going to be putting together. So I don't know that it's just for the stadium. I think there's a few other buildings that might be also built there in and around it.
Imagine, I just wish the government would come to myself, Joe, or anybody listening and say, hey, Joe, looks like you're in the market for a new house. You're going to buy it, let's just call it $750,000. How about Dade County gives you $350,000 towards that there? And we give you a nice new road. We build all the infrastructure for you. We'll give you tax abatements where you don't have to put any money down. Welcome into the neighborhood. Only billionaires and millionaires get this. Well, can you imagine you saying, all right, well, the stadium's going to cost $1.8 billion, but it'd be nice if the taxpayers paid for all the surrounding, buildings to be built. So they're hotels, they're casinos, they're places to eat. We make all the money, but the taxpayers paid for it here. Unbelievable how the NFL owners, NBA owners, NHL owners hoodwink society. Like, well, I'll move the team unless you give me, I don't know, $1 billion that only is going to come back from my profit and not yours at this. Make it make sense, as I like to say. It does not make any sense. But let's get back to the NFL this weekend with some quarterbacks who make it make sense if they can play. That's Brock Purdy going up against Arizona. That line is a 2.5-point spread right now. Why? Because we're expecting Mac Jones to play against the Cardinals in a total of 45.5. So let's start here. Does it matter to you if Mac Jones or Brock Purdy plays? Because Mac Jones looked decent last week. Second start under his belt. They're the favorites against Arizona. They probably still should win. Are we worried if Brock Purdy comes back a little bit too soon for this one?
Listen, I was kind of shocked that he wasn't able to go last week after that game against Seattle in the opening. But, he had a couple of different injuries, one being, I believe, a toe, and they had maybe a shoulder problem. But listen, if he's able to go, he's able to go. It's a divisional matchup. It's an important matchup for him, for this 49ers team. And, they've had some success over the years against Arizona and Kyler Murray. So, if you can get him back and he's able to go, they're still a better team, in my opinion, with him under center than Mac Jones. Although it's good to know that Mac Jones can step in if there's an issue and win you a game.
Yeah, we got some more hot topics here certainly to bring up in hour number 2 and a couple more here. And I know Joe is a Jets fan because I want his take on the Jets and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this game this weekend with a quarterback change because Justin Fields is not going to be able to go. But I don't want to shortchange Joe Ranieri. He's a Jets fan. He should be able to let loose on this topic, and we'll do that in hour number 2. Aren't we having fun? It's a Thursday night football matchup tonight between the Dolphins and the Bills. It's Joe and Donnie in the morning. The only place to be is on the SportsGrid Network.